Hey, 1, 2, 3, hey. And everybody duck when they drop roll by like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mothers won't see their son no more. And never done fuck 3 nights in a row. Think about the phone, but it's not the best she knows. Down by the river in the ankle pain. My bro got shot by the bank, baby. And I'm damn near proud of on the outside. And everybody duck when they drop roll by like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mothers won't see their sons no more. Phone, but it's not the best.
Mir Fontane, and this is East Side.
I'm Jared Fisch, and we're here at the Voltage Lounge in Philadelphia. I'm here with Mir Fontane after the show. How do you think the show went tonight?
It's going really well. I think everybody had a good time. Everybody came and got what they wanted. I think it was a pretty good show.
And then I want to get into your name. Where does it come from?
I got Fontane from The Godfather, Johnny Fontane. His character in the movie kind of portrayed the lifestyle that I live. He just wanted success. He never really had to get his hands dirty. He had the mob pretty much behind him to handle that. All he had to do was focus on achieving what he wanted to do. So I just adapted that to my name.
Let's talk about your childhood. You grew up not that far from here, just over the bridge in Camden. What was it like growing up there, and how did it shape you into the man you are today?
Growing up in Camden, you gotta be really cautious. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. You learn to adapt and deal with what you have, pretty much make it work. So you're more appreciative of things most people wouldn't really be appreciative of because we're pretty much deprived of a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I think it's just like growing up in any other inner city. But yeah, as a child, you're pretty much numb to it. You really don't see it. So it took me growing up to actually.
Now let's talk about your first album, Who's Watching the Kids? Where does that name come from? What does it mean?
Who's Watching the Kids is pretty much a statement to my city. Like Camden, half of Camden's population is pretty much under the age of 24. So the youth pretty much runs the city. So if the youth run in the city and it's a violent city, it's a poor city, then who's watching the kids? It's pretty much a testimony to what the kids are pretty much going through in the city while the adults are negligent to it.
Now, one of my favorites off that album, Damon Wayans. Why did you choose him to rap about?
Damon Wayans is one of my favorite comedians. At the time, I was watching the movie More Money, so it was kind of like an ode I wanted to give to him. I never heard any rapper really give their respects to Damon Wayans before, so I thought it would be a cool twist, a cool flip on the movie and how I was feeling at the time. Like I just had ambition to chase more money, so made it to the song.
And then now in this bill collector, you talk about the death of one of your friends. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It was more so I was going through college, like any other college kid. It's rough. You really don't have much here. Me, I was commuting, so I didn't really live on campus. I didn't really have that social experience. I was just going to school and going back home, so I was kind of like, I wasn't really into school just to begin with. And then it was at the time, one of my friends who lived like around, he didn't actually go to the school, but he lived around where the school is located. And he actually got killed by senseless violence. And it was like, that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And on top of a lot of things that was going on with me at the year. And it was like after I dropped out of school, the bill collector would still call me up trying to get money from me and stuff like that, not understanding that I'm a person and I have other things going on with myself. So that's pretty much where the song pretty much derived from.
And then you talk about Death Again and Down by the River. How many of these moments shape your music?
Most of these moments are just stories from the city, so it shapes me, period. Like me being in that environment, like to say that it doesn't affect me would be a lie. So these untold stories pretty much are the lifeline of what I do. Like I want to be the guy who's the reporter from the city that nobody really cares about, but should care about. So that drives me to like actually turn those negative stories into a positive.
And then now your newest album, Camden. What's the story behind the cover art?
Camden pretty much, I'm pretty much standing on the Camden street and I'm holding a pit bull puppy. Most people look at or think of pit bulls as dangerous dogs out of control. Me myself, I don't have kids. It was kind of also called back to who's watching the kids. People look at pit bulls, like I said, as dangerous, out of control. Puppies the same way they kind of look at people like children who grow up in Camden. They're like, oh, they're eventually going to grow up into these out of control animals or whatever. I just thought it would be weird for me to hold a child because I don't have a child, so I kind of symbolized that within the puppy, which was also a replica of a dog that I used to have when I was in 10th grade. Somebody stole while I was at school.
Now, my favorite song off the album, Frank Ocean. Why did you choose Nights for the background melody?
Nice was my favorite song off the new album that he dropped. I felt like that it connected most to the message that I was trying to put together. It was kind of like when I listen to the song, I think about like him grinding through the night shifts and actually just trying to become Frank Ocean, though he's already Frank Ocean. But it's a song about back in the day. And that's kind of how I was feeling at the time, and I just wanted to give honor to him. I wanted to give homage to everything that he's doing and how he influences me as an artist myself.
And then you end the album with Shorty's story, and you're one of the best storytellers I've ever heard in the rap game. How do you put a story like this into a rap song?
This Shorty story is a collection of 3 separate stories, and I just put it into one long track because I knew that the album was lacking that storytelling, just full-on storytelling track. I pretty much just wanted to leave the album off on a note where it was just like, damn, that's what it's like over there, and that's what I was aiming for. So it was like 3 separate stories that I wanted to tell, and I just mashed them up into this character called Shorty, which is an anonymous name. I didn't want to give it a specific name because it can be relatable to anybody. And it just so happened to be the favorite. I've been telling stories like that for a long time, making songs like that for a long time, but it's never really the track that stuck out with any of my projects. So I didn't really think people would gravitate to that one the way they did, but I'm glad they did. Yeah.
All right, I got a few questions left. They're all around XXL. So the XXL freshman list came out, and unfortunately you didn't make it. What do you think is good and bad about this year's list?
What's good about this list? It's diverse. I believe. I think this list is kind of going to be like last year when it first came out. People really weren't so sure about why certain people were on it. If you think about it, probably like 9 out of 10 people on that list actually blew up to become like stars. So I think this list is going to take a little bit to digest. The bad in the list, I won't really say there's bad in the list yet until like that's going to take time because I want to see what each artist does. It just came out.
And you think you're going to get it next year?
I have 100% feeling it. I know I'm just going to work harder this year. Yeah.
And then my last question is, in an interview with XXL, you said that you're going to be the next Tupac. That's a pretty bold statement. So how are you going to get yourself to this legendary status?
Continue doing what I'm doing, paving the way for a lot of artists like myself. Sending the message that I've been sending, like I'm a young artist and I have substance, which is rare in a lot of the newer rappers or whatever. So I feel like just me continuing to be who I am, I'm wise beyond my years already. So I feel as though I could learn from the mistakes Pac made while still incorporating some of the things that I idolize about it. And I think I have a pretty good chance to do it, even though it seems like it's a fad to say that you're going to be the next Tupac nowadays.
As I woke up on the ice cold ground, I got a hole in my chest, sweat drenched across the brow. Somebody had did me foul. As I rose from the ground, the